Hello everybody, here we are, and time to start working on that project again, and hopefully it's gonna be good one. So let's see how many things we can just get done today, and especially we are gonna be focusing on the designing part, and once that is done then we'll see. Okay, so coming back to this, so I just created a function, sort of a hook like this, and that's enough. And this hook is mainly responsible for just a minute. So yeah, so this is mainly responsible for setting the colors as well as just invalidating the things and all. So I'm just simply gonna be calling this instead of calling the state, so that it invalidate the overall scene as well. Okay, this seems to be fine, and let's go on. So now we have to set the stroke color, background color, and all these things. So if I actually go to color picker and this one, set stroke color. So now instead of using set stroke color this one, what I'm actually gonna do, that is set stroke color, but before even that, appearance, use shape appearance, and from here probably I'm gonna be getting the stroke color section. Appearance dot set stroke color, and I'm just simply gonna be adding it in here. Alrighty, so this is what I wanted to do. So what will happen now, that if I have a global label state, then that will be used, and if I don't have the global level, of course I'll have a global label state. If there is only one selected shape, so at the end of the day stroke color is going to be that particular selected shape's stroke color, otherwise the global state. So this is how it just simply goes on, and apart from this particular thing, I think it should be alright. And then we are just simply setting it in here. When just simply setting it, so set property stroke color, so and update selected shape. So set property stroke color means that particular color will be set, and update selected stroke means only that particular. Just a sec. Now this is fine, so it just simply goes on like this. Another thing is that it actually takes an object that doesn't need to be passed, or does that? If it actually takes an object with different things. Okay, fine. So what can be done in here? I'm getting the updates and simply restructuring that, so it should be working. So what is the problem? Expected 0 but got 1. Okay, fine. Call back. This should no, this is fine. The only thing is that I need to get rid of this part. So use callback, and the function is gonna be inside that. So this is how a callback is created when there is a function. So ultimately callback is returned, right? And normally how we do it? Normally we do it like this using a anonymous function, and that should be all right. Yeah, so this is fine. And apart from this particular thing, once this is actually set, then we set the color successfully. Set the background color now. Set background color, and I actually need the appearance in here, so I'd rather like to just copy it, paste it in here, and it should be appearance dot set background color. It will handle the remaining things on its own. Similarly, we have a stroke style picker. Going to paste the same thing. Once done, it should be appearance dot this. So we have a stroke style picker. Let's talk about the stroke width picker. Let's do the same thing in here for the last time. And appearance dot this. And once done, that is it. This is how it just simply goes on. Hopefully it's gonna work. We are drawing this, change the color, background as well. Okay, once this is done, and after that I'm gonna be drawing something else, it will have the same. Now we can make it bigger, and like this. And if I come back to this one, so they were all together different colors and all, so it actually looks like this. And now if I make it bigger, it just gets bigger. That is it. So things do not interfere with each other. Yeah, so things do not interfere, and that's what I actually wanted. So this particular thing we have done, and apart from this particular thing, if we just select both of them, so we are gonna be getting the default style, and of course we can style them the way we do not get the default style, do we? Okay, we get the style whichever was selected. So if I select this one, and now if I do it, yeah, so whichever I selected earlier, I just get those styles, and then from there on we can just style them the way we actually want to style. So this way it can actually be done. So okay, it sort of works great. How about the next thing? These things are working, and one more thing that we can add, that in rectangle, but before even that, let's focus on the other things. How about this? Okay, if I select this, we are able to change the color, we are able to change the thickness of that, and when thickness is actually changed, it looks really bad. Till this point it looks good. Yeah, but if we just select it, change the thickness again more, so it looks really bad. So the last one doesn't really make sense to have, right? This much is more than enough. More than that is just worse. And who's gonna have this much? So if I actually go to width picker, so the last one that we actually have extra bold. So in that case, let's make it bold, and let's make it extra bold. It just simply goes on like this. Get rid of this one, and that is it. Thin is more thin than it should be. If I come back to 100, medium is okay, and even this part is sort of fine. Come on, but apart from this particular thing, the thing should not be this much. It's quite a lot. So how about making it to 2, 3 and 5? Let's see. So thin looks like this, medium is this much, and extra bold is this much. Coming back to these, oh well, this is not quite bad. Yeah, going with this is better. Not really bad anyway. Good to go as for right now. Later we'll see. Okay, so these things we've done, and of course ultimately it does matter, right? So this and this, so there is a difference in the stroke width. That is good. Apart from this particular thing, it can even be more when we even press. So coming back to this, okay, this seems to be alright, even in our case as well. There's one thing that is thin looks like this here, and thin is really thin here. Okay, so this way is great. It should be 1, it should be 2, and it should be just 4. Then I can say it works the same way, right? Reload the page, select the pencil, change the color, 1 line, 2nd line, 3rd line. Okay, how about this? There's only one not one difference. In my case, what is happening? Second one is 2, so second one actually looks like this. So that's fine. I mean, good to go, right? By the way, this is gonna be the medium, and medium is enough. Then this is gonna be thin. Thin is gonna be quite a lot thin, and this is the bold one. So it just simply does the job. So this is how it just simply goes on. Okay, pretty good. How about the next thing? The next thing is the text. So even in text we have to work on these things. Apart from it, we are just able to give the color. Color is assigned. What? I think there is no font size yet by default. Let me see. If I have a color, it becomes smaller. Why? If I make it bigger, then it doesn't become smaller. Initially it does become small. In that case simply means there is no default font size. So whenever we double click, again we have to go to hooks. We are working on the text section. So whenever I double click, handle double click, at the time on pointer down this event is getting triggered. We are definitely having the font size here, but where is this coming from? So the font size actually comes from use of store font size. This should ideally be part of what? Do I have it here? This should be the part of not editor store, rather the properties panel. So we had the font size, we had the font family, we had line height multiplier. All these things, they actually belong to which section? They belong to the properties section, especially in the store. I already have the font family, font size, and line height multiplier. Let's even have that. Line height multiplier. And when it comes to line height multiplier, what's the default value of that? So the default value of line height, text style, right? This whole thing. .2. So the default style of this is nothing but 1.2. At least this thing is clear. And once this thing is actually done, after that we need to have a function that I'm going to have line height multiplier in there. Line height multiplier, that's actually gonna be a number. And not only that, just below this set line height multiplier, we just simply decides the alrighty, we have the type in here. Once we have the type, we need to add it in here as well. So when it comes to adding it, so I'm gonna be just adding it below this. Set line height multiplier, line height multiplier, that's gonna be a number. And when we have that particular number, we are gonna be setting it. Set, and line height multiplier is going to be set. I need to have just comma at the end, and the job is done. So now we have it. So of course once we have it, we need to export it as well. So text property actions, so inside the actions I need to export it just below font size. Export const use line height multiplier and again we have to shape property store. Okay, we are actually setting it, so this should be set line height multiplier, and this should actually be use set line height multiplier. We are gonna be setting the value. This is nothing but the action, and if I actually want to use that, so I can have somewhere here, then it should actually be just use line height multiplier, and this should be line height multiplier. Okay, this seems to be done. That simply means now we can use it anywhere. So now I'm gonna remove it from here. So the textile slice that I actually have, it's actually going to be removed. We even have this, especially when we are creating separately, and in this particular section we are not literally adding the, whenever we are just simply setting something. Just a sec. Slice. So whenever we have the slices, so we have the state, and just below the state we even have this. So inside set we have that. Coming back to this store, whenever we are just simply setting, so inside this we can have more properties, but okay, that's fine for now. Text editing state, that is fine. What else do we have in here? Tool, shape, eraser, select, text editing, viewport, history, style. I don't need to add this now. Yeah, get rid of this. So wherever I'm using this now, I need to use something else. Okay, that's fine, not a problematic thing. Okay, let's change this. Seems to be done. Text is I don't really need to have it at all, and same goes for selector. So at least this seems to be fine now. Yeah, so the text editing styling part will be the part of properties. Okay, now in the properties section we have it. Again, we are gonna be getting errors at many places. So now they should not be coming from here, rather what did I just simply cut? Font size, font family, font size. Just like this, right? Anyway, when it comes to the font size, so it's gonna be use font size from the properties section for sure, and this is gonna be use font family from the properties section again. The whole things come under styles. Even this color I have in here, so let's just simply have it in here. Let's get rid of this. So sort of it's done, but as I have changed this, I'll have errors at many places. So first one is the font size. All the places where the font size is actually being used, use the font size. Is the font size just being used here? And it turns out yes, because you don't really need anywhere else. You need it whenever you are saving it. Great. Use font family, just in here. Use line like multiplier, exporting it from here. So this particular part needs to be corrected, that is it. So let's run. This actually comes under style, and that is it. Now hopefully, well, not hopefully, so inside selectors index.ts, there's here, so inside store editor selectors index.ts, I need to remove it. It should be done. Now let's go to the slices section as well. Index.ts. Now this seems to be all right. We are able to draw, we are able to edit, do whatever we want to do. There's this problem in here that it is really bad. How can we fix this thing? How does it look on Excalidraw? Let's Excalidraw. Sorry. Let's draw the things in here. So I drew this. It actually looks like this much. So in that case, style, okay, get stroke style. Where do we have that? Where I created it? I needed this when I was just simply editing. So, but that should be inside utils. And when dashed it has this much, when dotted it should be around 3 by 3. Let's see how it looks like. In my case it looks like this. How about making it 5? Okay, okay, this is not gonna be working fine. Instead of returning this, I'm gonna be returning the whole. So 0 by 0 is great. I'm gonna return the whole pattern stroke style value. Second one is gonna be I think 5 by 3. Let's see how it's gonna be like. Second one is gonna be 10 by 10. That's fine. 10 by 10. First one is the width. Second one is the height. Otherwise 0 by 0 by default I'm gonna be returning. So this is how it's just gonna be written, but I'm gonna have it up here. So what the hell? Stroke value I'll directly get, and yeah, we have to directly get the stroke value. I'm doing it so that I can modify height and width as per the need rather than making them the same, otherwise it will not look like that. So that's the main reason behind it. Okay, in my case it looks like this. Let's play with this now more. So where is the util? Later I have to refactor it well as well. Refactoring is well in the sense it should be based on interaction. Right now it is the way React gives us the hooks, utils and all. I just organize it that way. I need to refactor it. so that whatever we need, that is at one place. That can be done later soon, but get stroke style 5 by 2. Let's make it 10. So that is the distance, and this 5 is the size. I make it 55. Okay, so the first one is the size, second one is the space. So if I actually make it 5, that's not bad either, because we have to go back to this level, and this is good. At least not bad. Coming back to this, what it tells us that even at 100, yeah, so size is less. How can we decrease the size? So to decrease the size, 5 by 5 we have, it just simply five by 5, what will happen? This is the second one, by 5. It will not make any difference until unless I actually have the changes. Yeah, so it just simply splits the line, and in our case this is better. Okay, we are going with this as for right now. Again, we can set the color and do this, that, and all. These things can easily be done, so not a problem as such, right? Okay, what can be the next thing? Apart from it, we can even draw it. Wow. Hey, it got automatically set draw because it was already selected there. That's right. So do we have to add the line color like this way here? This is not bad either. In this case, what happens? We don't really have it, but I want to have it. It looks great. So what I'm gonna do that, though I've already added it here first of all. So whenever we are drawing a free draw, so this stroke style is already added, line dash, and that is why we are able to see that. The only thing is that we are not able to see the option, so let's just simply add the option there as well. So when it comes to the option, and that is stroke style width, actually width, not stroke style actually. So if that is equals to free draw or text, it should not be visible. I am gonna be limiting it to the text only. If that's equals to text, you are not gonna be visible, otherwise you will be visible. And now coming back to this, even here we get it. Let me delete a few things first of all. And now if I select the line, I am getting these options. I can draw like this, then I can draw like this, then I can draw like this, and that's good, not bad, isn't this? And we can change the things and all, and they can be in different ways, and we can definitely select the colors. as per the colors that's even gonna be drawn. It is fairly good actually, I like it. Okay, so this particular part is done as well. What's the next thing that we have to focus on? Let's focus on the edge of this rectangle. I'm gonna be having one more option to add the edges for the rectangle, and if I actually come here, okay, come back to this. So when it comes to this, we have the edges here, so it can be just with the edges. We can increase or decrease the opacity, so even this thing we have to focus on. So there's a lot, but before that, before even this particular thing, what I want to create a hook that handles the shortcuts. So what should I name that hook? What to name a hook that handles shortcuts? Where is the ChatGPT? Use shortcuts, use shape shortcuts, use canvas shortcuts, something like this. What to name a hook that handles shortcuts? Shortcuts for the board. Okay, use board shortcuts, editor shortcuts, my board shortcuts. Okay, but there are gonna be different types of shortcuts. Should I create only one file or separate ones? I think one is gonna be enough. Use board. So use board shortcuts, use selection shortcuts, clipboard shortcuts, history shortcuts, and all these things. So inside this there can be smaller functions. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Let's continue. We have to create shortcuts for all these, like at least for as many as possible. Let's try it before even working on the new features, because it I can select them, but it feels crazy if I'm not able to delete. I am able to select it, but then I need to click here to delete this. So that is why I want to implement this feature, so that it gets easier, right, to even work with this. So let's go to the app, web features. Of course, we have to create a go to editor. This time viewport tool text renderer. Let's create another one called shortcuts. Later I'm gonna be reorganizing it by interactions. Right now all the hooks are here. Later I'll have all the hooks related to draw in one place, all the hooks related to eraser, draw, and all these things. We'll do it later, not a problem. So use board shortcuts or editor shortcuts, that doesn't really matter because we've been naming it editor. So editor shortcuts.ts. Here we are. Why I named it editor? Because at the end of the day the main file name is editor, so that is why. Export default function, use editor shortcuts. Now what are we gonna be doing here? First of all, I'll have a use effect. Just like this, gonna be running only once. Inside this particular use effect, I'm gonna be adding an event listener. So window dot add event listener. That's gonna be click, not click, keyboard. Now key press, which one should I be using? Key down, key press, and key up. I think key down should be enough. Which one to use? Which one to use? Key down, key press, and which one use? for drawing editor like yours, key down for almost everything. So we can use key down, we can use key press. Deprecated, so key press is not being used nowadays, so we can definitely go with key down, because whenever a key is down, then only something happens, right? So anyway, we will continue with this only. And handle key down, again I have to create it, but let's do that first of all, that as well. And once everything is done, we have to just clean it up as well. Handle key down. Okay, so this particular thing is done. Now we'll get the event in here. That's gonna be key down keyboard event. Once we have the keyboard event, CLG event, we are gonna be getting the type of the event that we get. Now based on the event type, we have to get the things done, right? So suppose first of all what I do, I wanna delete, that's the most important thing. So if I click backspace, it should be deleting the selected shapes. What is the use of backspace in it? Coming back to this, backspace, delete. By default they don't do anything, right? But if I click this, it just simply gets deleted. So I have to mainly focus on this what the hell, this particular functionality. Fine. And when I'm drawing, and if I click backspace, that doesn't really matter because it just gets done. Okay, never mind. Keeping this particular thing aside, we have to listen for event. Let's see, in our case we are gonna be logging it, but first of all we have to use this use editor shortcuts hook inside canvas, components canvas.tsx. it just needs to be used in here. That is it. Again, it needs to be imported. So done. And right now if we try, so if I click backspace, reload the page, backspace, so the key is the backspace. Fine. So using key we can get it. Code is backspace. Delete. So the key is delete. So how was shift? The key is the shift. Shift. How would control? Key is control. Control plus A. So key is A. Control key is true, right? Then control shift A, this control shift S, of course, suppose. So the key is yes, and control is true, the shift key is true. Okay, good job. So what are we gonna be doing now? Coming back to, well, sorry, I closed everything. One day. So what do we have to do? Coming back to this section, we have to focus on deleting it, right? So if event dot e, if that's triple equals to backspace, or event dot key if that's triple equals to delete, delete shapes. That is it. Again, I need to have it in. What are the better names for the functions? Let's have a look at them. So better names, they were mentioned here, right? Not here. So we can actually create separate hooks for them as well. I think that's not needed. One hook can actually handle it. If it is getting bigger, so later we'll create separate hooks for the separate things. As for right now, delete shape. Now this needs to be responsible for deleting the shapes. So before I delete the shapes, I need to check whether there are selected shapes or not. Only selected shapes can be deleted. So I need to have the selected shapes. I cannot have selected shapes directly, so I need to get the selected shapes ID. So selected shapes IDs. Use the selected shapes IDs. I got the selected shapes IDs. Now when I'm deleting this, if selected shapes IDs dot length, if that's actually triple equals to 0, I have to just simply return from here. And in the remaining case, I actually have to delete that. So deleting is actually the most easiest thing, if I'm not wrong. That's gonna be, we have to set the value to null. Empty. Set selected shapes IDs. Use set selected shapes IDs. And what do we have to do? Set selected shape IDs to this. The job is done, bro. Only this much code we needed. Coming back to this, I drew something. I clicked delete. That's not deleting. I clicked backspace. That's not deleting. Why? I selected it, clicked delete, it's backspace, not being deleted. In that case, CLG deleting it. Let's see. That's not getting called. Great. What is the reason behind that? So the use effect that I have, that runs on key down, so it should be running CLG event.key. Interesting. What am I missing? Okay. Use editor restore shortcuts. If I just uncomment this, things should be fine, but things are not really being logged. This is fine, but if I draw something, this is also fine. Now it's working. And if it is actually working, so by backspace delete, that's also working. So now if I uncomment this and reload the page, draw something, click backspace, deleting it, but that's not getting deleted. So the issue is that as soon as I set the image, the direct value is not accessible here. So if I actually want to access the value directly from the store, for that thing I'll have to get it directly from the store. So selected shape IDs is gonna be use editor restore, not really this, use editor restore dot get state. I'm just directly gonna be accessing it from the store, and once I have it directly, so if the length is equals to 0, just like this, but it can be selected shape IDs, shapes IDs. Any problem? It is saying that does not exist. Selected shapes IDs does not exist here. Really? Shapes IDs. We have shapes. Where do we have the selected shape? did this come from? Editor slash selectors. So I am saving it inside editor somewhere. Shape slice, selection slice, that actually contains this, right? So in that case, get state dot what to do now? Even if I have this selection slice in here and I'm exporting this, am I using it inside editor store? Selection slice is definitely being used. If the selection slice is being used, do I have it here? Turns out not. That is why no, I have it. So if I happen to have it here, then why am I not getting suggestions in here? Use editor store, I got it from there. Get state editor dot selected shape IDs. We have it, yeah. Selected shape IDs. No, that is not shapes, that is shape. Fine. Selected shape IDs. This should actually be selected shape IDs or selected shapes IDs. What a naming thing, that should be shapes IDs. Anyway, we have to go to the store, selection slice, selection bounds, that is okay. Selected shapes IDs, set selected shapes IDs, and selected shapes IDs, set selected shapes IDs. Yeah, right. And now we need to set the right type. What am I missing? Alrighty, this particular thing is done. Now I'm supposed to be having errors at many places, so let's go ahead. But now I have to look for wherever I'm using use editor store, because that gets scared. I have to correct it everywhere now. So these are the places where it's actually being used. So the first one is here. So wherever this is used, shapes IDs, the error is gone from here. Let's talk about this one. Done. Set selected shapes IDs. Set selected shapes IDs. Done. Done or not? Selected shapes IDs. This one is done too. Selected shapes IDs. These two things are not even needed. Alrighty. Overall, still an error. Selected shape IDs. What is that? Properties panel. So I have to go to the properties panel now. shape ID is not done. Line number 22. That is the still selected shape IDs, so we have to fix this now. So the problem is in the selectors right now. Selectors, and that's gonna be the selection one, right? Yeah, this should be shapes, this should be shapes, this should be shapes, and this should be shapes. Now we'll have errors at many places, so let's just go and fix them. So first of all, here, and let's remove the shapes from here. These are the places where we have the errors. So first one, okay, this seems to be done. Okay, done. We could replace all of them in one go, but apart from that thing, we have to fix other things as well, right? So just replacing one thing directly will not work. So we'd better just correct it manually. It seems to be done. Alrighty, this seems to be done now. So hopefully I will not face the issues, and that turns out to be no. Use shape drawing.ts. Interactions. Shape drawing.ts. किधर गया भाई? Whatever I just changed, this is the one. Where else? Tool actions. Seriously, it's not over yet. Image upload, keep going. Image upload. किधर गया वो? Image upload. That is the hook actually, यार. Okay, yeah, we are welcome back. We are able to draw the things here and there, right? Until yep, it sort of works. Okay, so this much is done, and we were talking about the text section, deleting as well. Are we able to delete the image? Uh, Turns out, no, bro, we are not able to delete the image. Why? Let's come back to the thing that we were working on earlier. Features editor. Oops. Shortcuts. This. So here we are trying to delete set selected shape ID. That's gonna be empty. If the what? You got to be kidding me. If the length is triple equals to 0, then of course we have to return. That's okay. And then we are just simply setting it deleted. Okay, this is not running. So if this is not running here, how about here? This doesn't seem to be running again. Okay, so that simply means even this part is running. I think I need to set it. Okay, fine. Probably I know the reason. I need to get set selected shape IDs here as well, instead of getting it in here. No? Why is that happening? Deleted. If the length equals to 0, that just simply returns. So that is why it's not getting printed. So if I just move it a bit up, then it's not even getting triggered. That's insane. Great. Deleted. It is below this. So whenever we are changing this, okay, after deleting it, we are not really got it. Just deleting is not enough. We have to render it as well. Probably we can fix it first. Huge canvas. Invalidate. What do we have to invalidate? Both. It's not really being deleted. We'll have to check it now. Redux store. Reload the page. Editor store. There are no selected IDs in it. Selected shape IDs, right? We have one selected shape ID. If I click delete, that's deleted. Okay, but that hasn't been removed from where? The shapes. Okay, so we need to set the shapes as well. That's the problematic thing. So once we actually know the selected shape IDs, so we have to remove them from the shapes. So we have the selected shape IDs, we have to remove them. Okay, fine. Set selected shape IDs. We have the selected shape IDs. Once we have selected shape IDs, hopefully selected. Doing this so that we don't have duplicate values. Again, that's very rare. It happens actually rarely. Probably no, it will never happen, but okay. Set shapes. So selected shape has the shape ID. If it has the shape ID, it should not be filtered. So if it does not have the ultimately if selected shape doesn't have the ID, that particular thing will be filtered, and that is it. Then we are invalidating it in here. Finally, okay, yeah, that's what I wanted. We are able to do it. This is the thing that we were missing, and we did this. Here we are. As for the setting, we are just directly setting from there. This selected shape ID. What if I get it directly? Let's see. If I just comment it for a while and try this thing out again, it does not work as expected because after drawing you need the particular selected shape directly in here, and that's not accessible. Again, you can click on delete, and then because we are rendering the things manually, so we'll have to make sure that we are actually getting the values manually as well, and that is why this particular part is not gonna run, and hence I have to uncomment this. What this part does, it just simply gets the values directly from the store rather than depending on the state management. So it just says give me the values directly, I will not depend on the state management. And the reason we are doing it because we are invalidating the previous shapes and all manually. If we were using use effect for that, then that's okay, we could have gone with the first way. But as we are not using use effects, we are invalidating them manually, so we need to get the values as manually as well, so that we have the most recent values. So this is just simply going on, and to even give a proper example, I just want to check it. Actually, it's not about giving the example. Suppose this is this one I have, this one I have, and this one I have. Now if I select all of them and click delete, so only the first one is deleted. Go one step back. Suppose we do these two, and once they are drawn, now we are trying to delete them, we are not able to delete, and we draw this first, we are not able to delete this, then we do something else. If we click down, I'm not able to delete. If we select both, we are not able to delete. But now if we try deleting, okay, we need to have the recent values, as simple as that. Yeah, better to have the recent values. Now doesn't matter which thing you forgot, we can easily delete the stuff. And not only just deleting the stuff, we can select it all. Once they are selected, we can click delete and they are gonna be deleted. And that's what I wanted, didn't I? And one thing that I just missed in here, that is we are drawing, that is good. This is what is done. Now when I delete, so if I click on delete, they are removed. If I go one step back, I just get two values. No, I did not get the last one. That simply means the third one. Why didn't I get that? But it doesn't happen here, right? 1, 2, 3 and delete. We are getting that last shape as well. That simply means we are not able to push the history. Why are we not doing that? Pushing history. So as soon as the image is drawn, so whenever the image is drawn, we need to push the history, but why are not we are pushing it, but we are not pushing it at the right time. So whenever the mouse up happens, we are pushing the history, right? Okay, the history is actually being pushed though. So if it's being pushed though, then in that case I'd like to check the states. What is the issue? Let's unpin this, and we have to look at what? Undo redo stack, right? Let's reload the page. Let's go to the editor store, and this is how it looks like, undo redo stack. Let's try drawing something. I drew this. When I drew that, I just get an empty array. This is a bug, this is a bug. Why undo is just empty? As soon as the drawing is done, whenever we are pushing the history, so one shape should be sent there. When I draw the another one, at that time the first one is actually sent here, so the type is rectangle. So that simply means when we are pushing this history after drawing, when the pointer up actually happens, so this doesn't work well. So state.push history, as the state.push history we have in here. So time to go to shape, not shape actually, slice, and there should be history slice, and we have push history in here, and in the push history what it does, we have undo stack, redo stack in here. That's fine, we are pushing the history. Once we are pushing the history, we are just simply calling this. That simply means undo stack is gonna be what, state dot, so whatever I had here earlier, and then I'm gonna be adding one more thing, and that's one more thing going to be state dot shapes, and there is no shape. That's insane. The sequence is wrong in here. Got it. कहाँ गया भाई वो shape drawing pointer up? First of all, we have to set the shape. After that, we have to push the history so that we actually have that there. Now let's try this thing out. Delete both and probably reload the page. Now draw one, and here we have that. So the what? First of all, I was pushing it, then I was setting it. What I have to do, I have to set it first and then push it later, so that when we push we actually have that particular value present. And now once this is done, so we don't really have to worry about anything. We can just simply keep drawing, and once done we can select it all, we can delete it all, and we can click on this and we will still get all those things. Not only that, we are gonna be able to set the color as well, so this way it can be done too. Interesting, good job. Let's delete them. What's the next thing? The next thing is that when I'm actually drawing the when I select, I get it all. Is that so? Yeah. This is something we have to fix. So when we actually selected something, so we have to show everything, don't we? Have to. Let's try this thing out. No, 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 no. Yeah, so if it is also selected, then almost everything is being just shown. It depends if they are actually selected or not. When we are selecting many, so the font related stuff needs to be only shown when the font is selected, otherwise not. Okay, so it turns out when we are selecting something, at that time I have to check what all is selected. On the basis of that, we have to render more and more things. Okay, fine. So if that is actually so, selected shapes, what to do? How about creating a ref that handles this or something better? We definitely need to do something. Let's go to the pointer state, because this is only for the state management, so it's better to go with the pointer state. And if I want to keep track of the selected shapes, should I use a ref selected shape ref? That contains the names of the shapes which are selected, and that can be an array, can't that be? That can be. We can make it a set. Yeah, it can be actually a set, array of a set. Yeah. And let's see. In your architecture, I wouldn't use the selector source as a source, since you already have selected shape IDs in your store. Keep IDs as the okay. If your store is actually the shape. We have the selected shape IDs. That's right. On the basis of that. keep IDs. So we are already storing the IDs. So can we create a function that just simply returns me all the selected shape names? ChatGPT did not, I couldn't make ChatGPT understand what I actually wanted. Anyway, we have the selected shape IDs, right? Once we have the selected shape IDs, so if I actually have them, so I can get the names as well. Get selected shape names. So ultimately this is again gonna be a utility function. Probably it's gonna be shape related, and that's gonna be get selected shape names. Get selected shape names .ts. Get selected shape names .ts. That's okay. So what will this do? Export selected shapes names. It is actually gonna be returning me an array, and that too not an array but a set. So const selected shapes names new set. That is it. I'm gonna be having a set in here, and the next thing that I have to do is to just simply loop through it all, and then it should be done. Okay, so I'm gonna be getting the selected shapes over here. Selected shapes. That's gonna be type of shape of this const we are getting this now. We can add, we can delete, we can do all these things. Let's just simply add the value. Type. Alrighty, that is it. Selected shapes names. Exactly how many shapes are actually selected. It could be names, it could be selected shapes types. Selected shapes types are gonna be here. Then in that case we could name it to alright. Once I've done this much, so what is the benefit of doing this? First of all, that, and the benefit is that I'm gonna be getting a set, and now I can render hooks conditionally. So first of all, I rendered them. Just a sec. Not hooks actually. We have to talk about the properties panel. We have this. So first of all, they are being rendered based on the selected tool type. So if the tool is this, then do this and all. And if the tool is select, all of them should be rendered. So if the tool is actually select, I want them all to be re-rendered, but it's not really happening. Why is that so? Just 3 things are not being rendered, and that is the font pools related stuff. So if selected tool is not equals to text, or selected tool is not equals to select, now I have to render these styles or properties based on the shapes are there in the selected shape one. Okay, so what can be done next? Suppose I'm here and this font side should be rendered only when selected shapes has the font size ultimately text. So it can be this. I'll have to get the selected shapes first of all. Suppose selected shape IDs. Now selected shape IDs. That simply means I'll have to calculate the selected shapes as well. Anyway, let's do that. Do selected shape IDs. Selected shape, and that's gonna be shapes, selected shapes, filter. Dot filter. If selected has a shape dot ID, in that case that's gonna be filtered, so I got my selected shape. So this much code needs to be repeated in every place. That's okay, not a problematic thing. Probably in future I can create another function, get selected shapes. Yeah, that would be better. Let's do it now, why not? So get selected shape types we have, but we need to even get the selected shapes. Get no, not really possible, because we need to have hook for that. Anyway, this thing is done. We have the selected shapes. Once we have the selected shapes types, shapes once we have the types, so now what I will do, this type is actually a set, and I'm gonna check one more thing in here. If selected shape types has type text, if it doesn't have type text, in that case I'm gonna be returning. But there is a problem. What if there are no and it will happen when, especially when there are selected shapes. When there are selected shape IDs, only then in that case I have to do it. So when I have the selected shapes, and at that time if selected shapes types doesn't have text, in that case I'll return. So once this is done, so if I select it, in text we have this. I should be getting many more things here. This is problematic. Yeah, so the logic is not right. So what can we do? Do we have selected shape IDs? We don't have. Will this ever run? It will not. It will be false. It is not gonna be running. And selected shape IDs is type text, and it doesn't have that. Okay, we don't have selected shape IDs. That is the first thing. So why is this returning CLG? Let's see. returning what is true. That does exist, dot length, sorry. If that's not shape equals to 0. Now this is fine. Arey na re papa. Okay, so if the selected shape ID has nothing, the length is not equals to 0. So when the length is not equals to 0, that simply means that does exist. And if it actually exists, in that case the type, if the type doesn't have text, in that case it will be returning. Okay, applies when shapes are selected. Okay, so this is how we have to go on, and now we have to repeat the code. Great. So great means what? Great. This first thing is the, where do we have it? This is the font tools, right, section. So apart from this particular font tool section, if I cut it, this, okay, copy. So we have covered the font tool section. Now the next thing that I have to go to, that is the background one, free draw section, and especially in free draw section, so when the shapes are selected, and if the type is actually what? Alright, coming back to this, let's handle this background color. And this background color should not be shown when, if the type is the text, or the type is free draw, or if the type is line, or if the type is arrow. In that case background color should not be there. Let's see in here what happens. Yeah, background color is not here, so we have to take care of this thing as well. Interesting. So let's just simply copy this thing from here. Let's go to the background color picker, background color, we have it all in here, and probably just render background color based on the color picker conditionally. That's okay, based on this. And this sorry, few things are repeated, great, such as this and this. Once we have the selected types, I can go with this background color. Now we have to, first of all, we have to render the colors conditionally, and when the, if the shape is equals to this, then this, okay, fine. If the selected tool is arrow, text, line, free draw, then we have to return from here. That's completely fine. And now time to do it, render them when they're selected. So we have to change this particular part in here. Later of course we will optimize this, but let's write the verbose code for now. So selected shapes dot types has when should this be visible? If the type is equals to the rectangle, diamond, and ellipse. In only these three cases it should be visible, otherwise it should not be. So if it has rectangle, or if if it actually has, if it doesn't have rectangle, that's okay, then I have to return. Or if it doesn't have what, let's just simply repeat it a few times. Not the best way to write, but okay, never mind, this way. So this should be it. Okay, that's fine. So if it doesn't have, the type is not rectangle, or if the type is actually not the diamond, or if the type is not ellipse, so in that case I have to return. That simply means this section is not gonna be visible. Let's see, let's draw the images. Now if I click on the, well, I'm not getting that. It doesn't work either way. So why is this not working? Because it is returning from here. Selected shade types, it actually becomes true, yeah. Just a sec. Selected shape types. So the shape that I selected, the type for that, let me wanna check this thing out. Is this actually working as expected? Rectangle, ellipse and arrow, select all of them together and we have rectangle, ellipse, arrow. What if we have rectangle twice? Now select all of them together, it's still the same. If what we are getting is the same, so what we are actually checking, that if selected shapes dot types has rectangle, does it have rectangle? Yes, it has. If it doesn't have rectangle, then it has to return. If it doesn't have diamond, and if it doesn't have ellipse, then it has to return. My mind. Okay, hang on. It doesn't need to be like this. Instead of telling it when it should return, tell it when it should render. Right? Okay, let's do it this way. So instead of going ahead like this, I'll say that, bro, if selected shape dot type has rectangle, if there is rectangle in the type, then it should be visible. It should be working either way. It turns out even this is not visible now. Size is 0, that simply means if not equals to 0. Let me see. Time to debug it. So it turns out it is returning, and thing is that it is returning for what region? Selected shape IDs dot length. Length is actually 0, and this part should be running. Yeah, because of this thing it is problematic. The logic was right, but the combination of the logic wasn't. Now this is gonna be right, and now it should be working as expected. So we have this, at least these things are visible the way they should be. Second thing is that whenever we draw something and it doesn't have, it has to return. So if it doesn't have rectangle, return. If it doesn't have diamond, return. Finally it is working now. Crazy logic. Okay, so what I'm saying that if it doesn't have rectangle and diamond and ellipse, then only return it. So in that case, suppose if it has rectangle, so true. If it doesn't have all of them, only then we have to make sure that it is not visible. Otherwise, if it has even a single one, then it should be visible. Okay, then, so it turns out to be working. Now in here we don't have background color, in here we do have background color. So that's in an image we have it all. I should not have it all. So if that is an image, so we don't have to render them at all. So this particular part should actually be kept at the top. So when it comes to keeping something at the top, I'm actually gonna be cutting this from here. Let's go to the properties panel, because I can decide it right here whether it should be visible or not. So is it okay? It's probably wind is blowing. Here we are. Let's paste it in here and let's get a few things. Once this is done, we have the selected shape types, and if selected tool is image, then make it visible. That is then you don't have to make it visible. Or if selected shape types dot has image, in that case, if the selected tool is not equals to image, then it should not be visible. Think about it. If selected tool is not equals to image, then these things should be visible. Second, this part, selected shapes dot types has image. If selected it has the image. If it doesn't have the type image, then these things should be visible. So this is the overall logic, and I'm actually gonna be wrapping these two. So this is the logic here, that if the selected tool is not the image, then I have to render these. If the selected types doesn't have a type image, then I have to render these, otherwise I don't have to. Understood? Let's see. So suppose right now everything's visible, but if I actually get the image, because image will have altogether different properties. So this is this is still visible. Why is this still visible? Let's reload the page. Yeah, it turns out to be visible. So in that case, I wanted to remove it. I don't want these to be visible when selected shapes dot this is or. Is this true? Right now this is not true because the type is select. Is this true? Select dot types dot has image. Yeah, this is true because we selected an image. So false, and of course we are making it false. So false or false and false, and just a sec. So no, this doesn't make any difference, bro. Selected shape types. And again, this should be working when there is a selected shape, not all the time. So selected shape types dot length, that's not equals to 0, and then only it should be visible. Selected shape types. Dot so we don't even need to worry about this one, or do we have to? So yes, we need to this part should be running when there are selected shapes. So when selected shapes IDs dot length, if that's not equals to less than 0, only then we have to run this part. Then we have to render this. Okay. And the thing is that, and the third thing is that if selected types dot image, if it doesn't have type image, then we have to render this. Should be fine. Yeah, that's what I actually wanted. Now of course it can be better, it can have better names and all, render, but this is not the right time. So we have this, 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 and that's what I actually wanted. No, we have to take care of this. If the type is actually text, then we don't have to render the stroke width and stroke style. So it turns out that we have to set a check for it as well. So let's do it really quickly. So if I go to font tools, I'm going to copy it again, and this time let's go to the stroke, and it needs to be the same for both. So in that case, let's just get those here. Once we have them in here, what's gonna be the logic? First of all, let me copy this as well, and not like this, just copy it. Let's go to stroke style, and probably just in here we have to have this logic. What should be the logic? First of all, it should be applied when the length is not equals to 0. So when there are selected shapes, only then this particular logic should be applied. And when there are selected shapes, so when should I render this? So it should be rendered, ultimately stroke style should be rendered if the type is not the text. As simple as that. The same we had for the background, the same we have for it. Let's see. Render, what is this? Render image. When I click on text, that is actually equivalent to text, so we have to even fix this particular part. When I click on text, render image properties. Interesting. The logic is wrong. Anyway, if I click on this, first of all I have to stop rendering the stroke width and this. The way we are, okay, fine. So if the type is actually text, selected types dot has type text, in that case we have to return. That simply means we don't have to render this. Check it out. Yeah, it worked. So this is the first thing, and then I'll copy it all. I'll go to stroke style is here. Let's go to stroke width. Let's just simply again there's a lot of repetition of the code. we will work on it, but as for right now, let's just simply make it work and copy this check from here and paste it in here. Alrighty, now if I actually, wow, it's being applied in all the cases. We'll see why it is happening. But coming back to this, we are getting these things. Okay, now there's an issue in the properties panel, that is this one. So so the thing is that now when I click on the image, it's not working. So should I have this or statement in here? I think so. Yeah, it's working. So selected tool, if that's not equals to image, render this, or if this is the thing, and the thing is that if the tool is actually select, so this is not going to be working, so this condition is going to be working in that case. In that case, this is for the selected tool, selected shapes, and when the selected shape doesn't have the image, only then all these things should be visible. If the selected shape has the image, it should not be visible, rather this particular section should be visible. So now if I click on this, visible, done, 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 and if I click on this, so let's get the image as well. So this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing, this thing is not working. So when I click on the image, at that time the type is select. So if that is or, then again this is gonna be problematic thing. So I'll have to correct it. Type is not equals to that, that is fine. Probably I need to do this. Cut and have it in here. Or even better, this okay, what am I missing? Let's get rid of this. So what are we doing in here? I have this first check, and if that's not equals to image, this part is gonna be running. If that is equals to image, this part is gonna be running. Second, if that is not equals to image, that simply means that can be equals to something else or the other. At that time, there's gonna be another check for the selected shapes, and then if it actually says it. So if the length, this is fine, and if the selected shape length is not equals to 0, that is okay, and this is the first thing. If it actually equals to 0, we are how long will I keep messing with this thing? I have to work on other stuff as well. Alrighty, so let's see how it has worked. Moving it at the top, yeah, that's right. If that is actually equals to image, then render the image, otherwise go ahead with this thing. And if it has the selection, if that's greater than 0, so that simply means it has the selection. and when it has the selection and is image selection, if the image is the selection, in that case we have to just simply render. If the image is not the selection, then we have to render this. Okay, that's fine. So fine, just a minute. This is it. Even this is not quite right. This does not work as expected. In that case, what can we do? This was the logic that I had initially, and if that's not equals to this, so we are rendering this. That is great. How about this one? It just works the same. Okay, the logic that AI gave us, that's exactly like works the previous one. So we'll have to fix it on our own. So when it comes to this, what is the issue first of all? The one good thing is that if selected tool is not equals to image, then we don't have to render anything. Okay, for that sake, I can just simply have this and in here, and I can get rid of this part. So if selected tool is not equals to image, then this part is gonna be visible. So for example, if the selected tool is equals to select, so it's gonna be visible, right? That's right. And the next thing is that the next check that we have this one. So if that is suppose select, then we have to take care of this one. So over here, the length is it is merely for the selection. So selection in the sense, if selected shapes dot length is not equals to 0, that simply means if there are more shapes, then this particular logic should run, and true false will be false only. So this particular section is never gonna run. So if it's not equals to 0 and selected shape doesn't have the shape, that is great, but having this selected shape ID's logic doesn't make any sense. Let's see. So when there is a selected shape, great, I think it worked. So the question is that if I click on this image, especially when the images are selected, suppose this one is selected, so this is not working in this case as expected. This part works well, but the other one doesn't. So let's not make it be dependent on this. So I'm just simply gonna say that it is not dependent on the selected shapes, ultimately the length. Now it's gonna be visible. That's what I wanted. Yeah, so it is fixed. So what we are actually doing, that if it is not equals to image, then only it's gonna be visible. This is the first thing. So if the selected tool is not equals to image, so it can be anything. Suppose it can be, when we select, if it is actually select, and at that time we are not checking the length of the selected shape types, even if there are no selected shapes, it should this particular logic should still be running. If there are selected shapes, so it should be rendered based on that. So if I have to just check one more thing, that if selected shape doesn't have the image, and if there are no selected shapes, then that is also fine. So selected shapes types dot has image, so ultimately selected shape will not have the image even if the length is 0 or more. So even if the length is 0 and if it doesn't have the image, render it. Even if length is more than 1 and if it doesn't have the image, render it. So the important part is that selected shape should not have the image as a type, and if it does not have that, I have to just simply render this, and this is how just simply does the job. Again, it can be better, so we'll be working on it later, but as of right now we are actually able to render these well. And apart from this particular thing, I like this anyway. This, let me change the color, is good. Had better delete this. If there is a single dot, we are not able to delete that dot, so we have to take care of that as well. And we have to take care of this dot. I'm not able to delete this particular dot. Apart from this particular thing, we are able to sort of do a better job here. Okay, what's the next thing, the next step? So far we have worked on quite a lot actually. Now there's more, like if we just click on empty space, so we can select all. These are the shortcuts related things, can be done really quickly, so it's not really big problem. Getting these things done is going to be easy. So select all, paste in all. So we can paste only when there are copied things, so we have to create an array for copied ones, and then we should be able to paste. Select all is here, and most of the things I'm not even aware of, so they are gonna be implemented later. So if something is not implemented, of course I'm gonna be removing it later when it comes to deploying it. But overall, these are the things that we have to work on. Delete, we have worked on this, so it can easily be done. And duplicate can easily be done. Lock is easy. Horizontally flipping is something that I'll have to work on it a little bit, and because what is happening, that most of the time I'm just rendering it from here. So even if I'm drawing something from left to right, in reality that's getting rendered from right to left. So this is something that I'll have to work on. Let's see how it's gonna be going on. And apart from this, paste is easy. Cut, we can easily cut it. Okay, cutting in the sense we should be able to paste it as well. For pasting, we are gonna be creating an array. So array for pasting, and whatever there is, that's just simply gonna be pasted. Copying and cutting will just simply push it to there. And copy styles is easy. We can just simply select one or more, and once they're actually selected, copy styles, this is gonna be problematic. It's easy to copy the styles of one, but when it comes to copying the styles of many, I haven't implemented this because I have the default style over here. That's problematic thing, because just a sec. If I do this and come back here, yeah, so what actually happens, that when it comes to copying style, I can easily copy the style of one, but copying the style of many is problematic, because when it comes to many, so the style actually gets compiled. it does have the copy style. Let's paste the style. Copy styles means what? I'll have to work on it a little. And one more thing, as we are changing their styles, new shapes are actually being created. So that is why we are able to undo redo. So even this thing we'll have to work on. And when we select it, right? So what we'll do is that creating a map probably, and getting the styles from each and overwriting it. So what I'm planning to do right now, once many shapes are selected, at that time start looping from the beginning, get all the styles from the first one. Then there is another override the style as you just simply keep going on, and at the end of the day, by the end whatever you get, as you just simply paste, just the overall style is going to be pasted. That's what I am thinking of doing right now. So this could be better as well. So the overall style is gonna be overwritten. So the current one is gonna be the latest one. Let me see. We don't have any background color, we don't have any this, we don't have any stroke width style. So just the normal one. Why do we even have this in? We have sloppiness. Copy style. If I copy the style and paste somewhere, paste style, medium, let's see. How to implement a copy style in Excalidraw. Clone. The easiest way to think about copy styles is copy the appearance properties, not the entire shape. So don't copy geometry. Define a style. So stroke, this is the interface, and store the copied style. You only need one copied style. So copied style, null, leave in your editor store, copy style. So set copy style, shape this. It is assuming just one shape. Usually you will use the first selected shape. This is okay, I mean we can easily do it. How to handle it for multiple shapes. So probably the style of the last shape. There are two common approaches. The one you choose depends on your UX you want. Copy only the primary selected shapes style recommended. This is what most design tools do because it's predictable. If multiple shapes are selected, rectangle, circle, this copy style copies only the rectangle style, the first one. When pasting Every selected shape receives the rectangle's style only compatible properties. Okay, that's fine. Simple matches the user, easy to implement. Copy style per shape not recommended. Imagine selecting 3 shapes and then this. Now what happens if the user pastes on if multiple shapes have different styles applying to multiple shapes? So I recommend tracking a primary selection. So selected shape ID is primary selected shape ID when the user copies. So ultimately the simplest thing is gonna be that the first shape that you actually have, that's the style of that shape is gonna be applied to all. Any better way? How about creating a style object and overwriting the shape as uh, we go to the selected shapes? Okay, yeah, that's a good approach if your goal is to preserve only the properties that all selected shapes have. In fact, this is how many editors compute the state of the properties panel. There are two different use cases though. Copy style, I would not merge. Suppose you selected rectangle, then did this. You iterate, then you just simply overwrite. You will end up with green arrows width because the last shape wins. The arbitrary and probably not. Okay. Then properties panel. This is good fit. Many editors compare all selected shapes. The panel becomes stroke with mixed. You can compute like that. So now we are comparing. So if shape dot color, the shape that we got, stroke color, if it is not equals to style dot stroke color, that we are actually saving it in here. So in that case we'll set it undefined. Okay, setting something to undefined. Yeah, that can be right as well. So we can actually do what? We can set that to undefined if that exists again. True, not bad idea. If you really want to override for your ID separate properties panel, compare styles and show common values or mixed. So common values or the mixed one. Okay, if that is mixed, that's gonna be undefined. Copy styles, use the primary or the last selected shapes style. Primary or last selected shape style. Again, paste style, apply the one style subject object to every selected shape. That means when selecting multiple shapes, we have to get the common style and remaining, just a minute, remaining one should be undefined, and then copy this style and paste this. You compute style becomes this undefined. Now when the user pastes onto that, so it will have this and escape, the only stroke color changes. The important part, when applying the style, don't spread the object. That's right, we cannot really spread the object because the remaining things are gonna be undefined. Instead, if that exists, then only update that. This actually has a nice UX. Which would I choose? For typical Excalidraw clone that aims to match common graphics editor behavior, I'd still lean toward copying the primary selected shape style because it's deterministic and familiar. However, the common style approach you've described is valid in some workflows. Okay, forget about this. How to select the primary style? like of which shape. The first one, the key question is what does primary mean. You need a deterministic rule. There are several options. The last selected shape can be, that's the recommended one. So say click a rectangle shape, this selection, okay, that's fine. So the primary one is the last. So now click a rectangle, shift click circle, shift click diamond, that's okay, fine. And these are the things that we have. Now you copy styles, and you copy the diamond style. You store your store could be like this. Primary selected shape ID. Once we have this, then clicking without shift. First selected shape, easy to implement but less common. Top most selected shape. Choose the selected shape with the highest z index. Useful for some operations but not all. Last clicked shape. This is my favorite because it matches the user intent. Diamond becomes primary. Let's go with the last clicked shape. My recommendation for since you already typing selected shape IDs, I'd extend your store like this. So this is gonna be there, and define the primary selection as the last clicked selected shape. This gives you a clear, predictable whatever. Here we are. So ultimately, even if you are selecting many shapes, what is gonna be here? The last selected shapes ID is actually what? The last selected shapes style is actually gonna be copied, and that's the only thing gonna be pasted. And if you want a specific one, you can select this shapes one by one. You can copy the style, you can paste the style, and this way we can just simply get the job done. Interesting. So we have the plan right now. We are gonna be implementing it. But first of all, today we got this particular section done. One more thing that we have to work on, that is when I select the rectangle, I should be getting an edge option over here, right? And to get an edge option, we even have to go to Lucid React, because we have to create the UI part, and for that thing we need to have the icons. Edge. And it turns out that we don't have. Okay, so let's see how it's gonna be tackled. Probably we'll need to create the SVGs for it. That's okay, fine. The SVG can easily be created, so not really big problem. SVG like this. This is better. There's already an SVG, that's great. Array, wow, what was that? Interesting, it actually converted a SVG to this particular format. Oh, it's such a good thing, yeah. It actually supports flipping, and if it is actually able to support flipping, that simply means Excalidraw it actually supports negative widths, because if it actually starts from here, so it is definitely gonna be supporting the negative width as well. Flipping. Not a bad idea. I can implement this, not really a big problem. It's just that right now I'm just simply normalizing everything. So when we are actually normalizing, it cannot be flipped. So to do so, I'll have to enable the negative values and all. We'll see exactly how it's gonna be going on. But this is the SVG that we got. It's quite a big one, yeah. It's gonna be hard to. It's a big one. Okay, so this is the SVG that we have, and this is the SVG of that particular image. So yeah, we can easily get the SVGs. That's not really a big problem. The thing is that just implementing that can be done easily too. Alrighty, I'll be catching up soon, and then we'll just simply get this particular thing done as well. It's been enough. Probably after half an hour or something, I'll be back and then continue working on the project. See you.